Welcome everybody to another episode of Unearthing the Supernatural's Evidence Review.
Tonight, join the crew as we reminisce on one of Season 1's most iconic episodes, The Phantoms of YMCA in Miami, Arizona. Whoa. Stories are in the metal here. Whoa! Yeah, I saw something underneath. What the?
Alright, good. No issues. My first impressions driving up to this building were, oh my gosh, this place is really huge. At the time, this location was going to be one of the bigger buildings that we've ever investigated.
In all honesty, it was the first time that we were able to investigate a truly three-story structure. It was just myself, my brother, and my uncle at the time. And we had been given the task to investigate this huge three-story building. And my initial impressions as we were walking through was just memories. I never really thought that there was really anything in there upon initial walkthrough.
A tactic that we like to use is really go in as a human, but sense out every single room that we go into.
It seemed it was just memory spirits, maybe just happy spirits. Just a building that was once a place of relaxation, a place of people living, and a place that people would release the stresses of an everyday job, of the mines that were nearby.
Normally you would feel like a spirit or somebody looking at you, or a dark feeling if you go into a location, but for some reason I wasn't sensing anything here.
The initial walkthrough of this place was actually very lighthearted. It'll be soon to find out that those initial feelings were really, really wrong. There at the YMCA, we came into contact with not only the ghosts and memories of this once prolific establishment, but we came in contact with a race of entities known as phantoms in English, or mythices.
What other stories and events happened that aren't spoken of? And were there darker things that have taken over this?
Sorry, Brock, but this building is our home turf. Hello, Unearthers. I am Zelcod, a phantom representative that wishes to tell you our story and how we laid claim to this building. Welcome to our world, the Phantom World.
So a phantom being is a being that is a master of the psyche, the mind. It can be able to bring out your fears, your emotions, everything, memories, and make you see, feel things that aren't actually there.
And so they've become quite good at being able to manipulate the endorphins of the living. They become quite good at diving into your own mind and extracting your most horrific fears. Now, these particular beings are not good, are not evil. They are a class all their own. They are a being that live beyond, I guess, our realm, but they also live coinciding with ours. It's an interesting conundrum.
So one of my most memorable pieces of evidence for this episode happened, but I didn't even realize it was happening at the moment. I didn't realize it was actually happening until we actually watched the episode.
This particular evidence was captured when I was telling the story. I was actually asking the spirits if they recognized a particular type of entity known as a soul merchant. And this soul merchant is said to wield a lantern of blue flame. And as I was telling the story, there are several pieces of our evidence, the REM pod, the SB7, and our EMF detectors were actually going off, kind of confirming that they recognized and they knew about this type of entity.
There are entities that seek to sell souls, that seek to gather souls, and to sell them on markets in hell, in the dark side, in the dark world. Have you experienced any soul merchants carrying a lantern of blue flame to collect the souls here?
And while Hero was telling stories about these death spirits, we captured one of our first ever poltergeist activity. You see the tripod that was recording us with Hero's phone get dragged back, moved back. And at the time I thought, okay, well maybe the building's settling or maybe one of us bumped something. But in the footage, you see all three of us that were there on the investigation and none of us make any noise or even movement to be able to move a tripod like that.
51.5. Number 51.5.
Not only was the camera moved, but also the SB7 spirit box fell on its side. So there was a particular entity, what we ended up capturing as a phantom, that gathered enough energy to cross into our physical realm and touch one of our objects, touch our camera, touch the SB7 spirit box. And they literally laughed. And I was surprised that we captured on our camera the actual phantom laugh.
Did you move that?
So by far, this is one of my most creepy and my most awesome pieces of evidence that we've captured at the Phantoms of YMCA. One of my most memorable feelings and moments would have to be when we were in the bowling alley. And right there, Hero was making contact with a spirit that was opening up a dimension inside of a door. But unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that was actually happening at the time.
0.5. 0.7. 0.4. I'm gonna reach down and grab it, okay? Did you knock it out of my hand? Oh, I'm getting like a...
So I accidentally walked in between Hero and the portal as it was opening, and I accidentally burned my back spiritually. So when something happens to you spiritually like that, it takes a little bit of time for it to actually affect your physical body.
It was giving off some high readings, and when I was standing there, I got nauseous. I got sick, like the whole energy was like spinning, kind of like how Narion said when we first came in this room.
They took off back into that doorway, I think.
Yeah, my stomach right here felt like, you know,
Like sharp pain? Did you feel that too? I had that right here.
So that's a gut-wrenching feeling when a dimensional portal is open. And when they ran through it and knocked that thing off my hand, they took off and ran right back into that.
So we finish up investigating inside of there, and we make our way across the hallway into the pool room. And we make our way to the very back of the pool room, and we go into the boiler room. And in there is where I started to feel the effects of the Phantom's portal that they tried opening up in the bowling alley.
Are you messing with my head right now? Who's affecting my head right now? I have like a swelling headache right now, you guys.
Normally when I feel any dark spirit or any dark entity try taking over me, I know the basics to pretty much protect myself and counteract those actions. But unfortunately at this location, I had no control over what was happening to me. I had to ask Hero and now Rion, can I excuse myself from the investigation in the building because I just started losing control of everything. I had a swirling headache that came from my eyes all the way up to the tip of my forehead, all the way around my head, and it just started swirling around my head and just excruciating pain that I could even really stand up anymore.
Hero, I think I need to step outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of want to get out of this.
Let's go. Yeah, I need to. I'm going. Okay.
Hero Naurion himself had to perform an hour-long ceremony for me. I just remember feeling during that whole ceremony and looking back into the building, why are we even ghost hunting? This event that happened to me made me question ghost hunting altogether.
My most memorable moment at the YMCA in Miami, Arizona. This particular moment still shakes me to my core. Not only was my brother affected by these particular entities and particular beings, but I did not even recognize what type of beings we were interacting with until the captain of the Phantoms themselves called out to me.
Stop! Stop! Stop!
The captain of the Phantoms called out to me, and he used a name that I'm known for in the spiritual realm. Very few ghosts and very few people living actually know this particular name. And he called out this spiritual name that I have, and he had a message for me. I yelled for Shanclen and now Rion to stop all movement, because a being to yell this name at me, and the amount of fear and the amount of threatening energy that I felt at that time, I knew something was going to go down.
What's up?
The message he gave me is the same message that you hear at the end of the episode, that Zalkad speaks. And it is a message that we will continue to spread on behalf of the captain of the Phantoms, because this particular type of entity needs to be respected and needs to be acknowledged that they are still around. They are very powerful, and it is not something to play around with.
My captain and Hero had a very interesting discussion. Even though only a few seconds passed, it was enough time in the trance state to come to a diplomatic solution. This building is under the command of the Phantom World. Here, we tend to the lost souls of the area that choose to remain, tend to our matters, and feed on the fear of the living. And as you can see, we're quite good at it. Our message: respect our kind. Don't think you can toy with us and not be affected. Unless you know the sacred words or seals like Hero, expect us to take something from you in return. We are out there, and we are hungry. Thanks to Unearthing the Supernatural, we got some needed supplies, offerings, and our message sent across the world. In exchange, we set free some souls that wish to cross over and provided one exciting ride.
So one thing I learned about this investigation is never go in with your guard too low. You never know what's out there, and there's always going to be spirits that are more powerful that can go above your normal protections and a lot more stronger than your senses. So always be on guard, always be ready.
So what I learned from this location was to be aware, be more aware of your surroundings. I learned to pay attention to my squad, to pay attention to my crew, as to how they're feeling and how they are being manipulated by the beings of a haunted location. And I learned to be on my toes and to always be ready, because of all the teachings and all the knowledge I've been given, there's still a lot that I have to learn. And there's still quite a bit that I have yet to interact with.
So that's going to go ahead and wrap up our evidence review for the Phantoms of YMCA. If you want to check out the full episode, link is in the description. Thank you for watching. Many blessings to you.
I hope you all have a great night and many blessings. And remember, we are a few of many. One story of thousands. Let us hear yours.
If you find ghosts, I'd like them not to be malevolent. I'd like them to be sweet ghosts, please.
What stories are in the metal here?
Whoa! What? I saw something underneath.
I have a headache right now. I'm trying my best to just tough it out.
Toss something! Let us know you're here.
Did you have to shut it down? Digga.
Whoa!
Stop! Stop!